Hello everyone, and welcome to the Center for Performing Arts at Prince George's Community College. My name is Richard Anatone, and I am a professor of music here at Prince George's Community College, and I'd like to thank you for joining us in another performance in our Guest Artist Recital series. Today, we are joined by Dr. Topher Ruggiero and Carolyn Agan. Dr. Ruggiero currently serves as the Associate Chair of Piano at the Levine School of Music, Virginia campus, and Carolyn Agan currently serves as the Director of Musical Theater at the Levine School of Music. Today, they will be performing two fantastic works for narration and piano, Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf and Poulenc's Story of Babar, the Petit, Éléphant. So please welcome Dr. Topher Ruggiero and Carolyn Agan.
Peter and the Wolf by Sergei Prokofiev. Early one morning, Peter opened the gate and went out into the big green meadow. On the branch of a big tree sat a little bird, Peter's friend. "All is quiet," chirped the bird gaily. Soon a duck came waddling around. She was glad that Peter had not closed the gate and decided to take a nice swim in the deep pond in the meadow. Duck, the little bird flew down upon the grass, settled next to the duck, and shrugged his shoulders. "What kind of bird are you if you can't fly?" said he. To this, the duck replied, "What kind of bird are you if you can't swim?" and dived into the pond. argued and argued, the duck swimming in the pond, the bird hopping along the shore. Suddenly, something caught Peter's attention. He noticed a cat crawling through the grass. The cat thought, well, the bird is busy arguing, I'll just grab him. Stealthily, she crept toward him on her velvet paws. "Look out!" shouted Peter, and the bird immediately flew up into the tree. While the duck quacked angrily at the cat. From the middle of the pond. The cat crawled around the tree and thought, is it worth climbing up so high? By the time I get there, the bird will have flown away. Grandfather came out. He was angry because Peter had gone to the meadow. It is a dangerous place. If a wolf should come out of the forest, then what would you do? Peter paid no attention to his grandfather's words. Boys like him are not afraid of wolves. But grandfather took Peter by the hand, led him home, and locked the gate. No sooner had Peter gone than a big gray wolf came out of the forest. twinkling, the cat climbed up the tree. The duck quacked, and in her excitement, jumped out of the pond. But no matter how hard the duck tried to run, she couldn't escape the wolf. He was getting nearer and nearer, catching up with her. And then he got her, and with one gulp, swallowed her. And now, this is how things stood. The cat was sitting on one branch. The bird on another. Not too close to the cat. While the wolf walked round and round the tree, looking at them with greedy eyes. In the meantime, Peter, without the slightest fear, stood behind the closed gate, watching all that was going on. He ran home, got a strong rope, and climbed up the high stone wall. One of the branches of the tree around which the wolf was walking stretched out over the wall. Grabbing hold of the branch, Peter lightly climbed over onto the tree. Peter said to the bird, "Fly down and circle around the wolf's head. Only take care he doesn't catch you." The bird almost touched the wolf's head with his wings, while the wolf snapped angrily at him from this side and that. The bird did worry the wolf. How he wanted to catch him. But the bird was too clever, and the wolf simply couldn't do anything about it. Meanwhile, Peter made a lasso, and carefully letting it down, caught the wolf by the tail and pulled up with all his might. Feeling himself caught, the wolf began to jump wildly to get loose. But Peter tied the other end of the rope to the tree. And the wolf's jumping only made the rope around his tail tighter. Just then, the hunters came out of the woods. Following the wolf's trail and shooting as they came. But Peter, sitting in the tree, said, "Don't shoot! The bird and I already caught the wolf. Now help us take him to the zoo." And now, imagine the triumphant procession. Peter at the head. After him, the hunters leading the wolf. And winding up the procession, Grandfather and the cat. Grandfather tossed his head discontentedly. Well, and if Peter hadn't caught the wolf, what then? Above them flew the bird, chirping merrily. My, what brave fellows we are, Peter and I. Look what we have caught. If you would listen very carefully, you could hear the duck quacking inside the wolf, because the wolf, in his haste, had swallowed her alive. The Story of Babar, the Little Elephant. Words by Jean de Brunoff. English version by Nelly Rio. Music by Francis Poulenc. In the great forest, a little elephant was born. His name was Babar. His mother loved him dearly and used to rock him to sleep with her trunk, singing to him softly the while. Babar grew fast. Soon he was playing with the other baby elephants. He was one of the nicest of them. Look at him digging in the sand with a shell. One day, Babar was having a lovely ride on his mother's back. Suddenly, a cruel hunter hiding behind a bush shot at them. The hunter killed Babar's mother. The monkey hid himself, the birds flew away. The hunter ran up to catch poor Babar. Babar was very frightened and ran away from the hunter. After some days, tired and footsore, he came to a town. He was amazed, for it was the first time he had ever seen so many houses. What strange things he saw! Beautiful avenues, motor cars, and motor buses. But what interested Babar most of all was two gentlemen he met in the street. He thought to himself, "What lovely clothes they have got! I wish I could have some too, but how can I get them?" Luckily, he was seen by a very rich old lady who understood little elephants and knew at once that he was longing for a smart suit. She loved making others happy, so she gave him her purse. "Thank you, madam," said Babar. Now Babar made his home in the old lady's house. Every morning they did their exercises together, and then Babar had his bath. Every day, he drove out in the car that the old lady had bought him. She gave him everything that he wanted. And yet, Babar was not altogether happy. He could no longer play about in the great forest with his little cousins and his friends, the monkeys. He often gazed out of the window, dreaming of his childhood. And when he thought of his dear mother, he used to cry. Two years passed. One day, he was out for a walk when he met two little elephants with no clothes on. "Why, here are Arthur and Celeste, my two little cousins," he cried in amazement to the old lady. Babar hugged Arthur and Celeste and took them to buy some lovely clothes. Next, he took them to a tea shop where they had some delicious cakes. Meanwhile, in the great forest, all the elephants were searching for Arthur and Celeste, and their mothers grew more and more anxious. Luckily, an old bird flying over the town had spied them and hurried back to tell the elephants. The mothers went to town to fetch Arthur and Celeste. They were very glad when they found them, but they scolded them for having run away. Babar made up his mind to return to the great forest with Arthur and Celeste and their mothers. When everything was ready for the journey, Babar kissed his old friend goodbye. He promised to come back to her and never to forget her. The old lady was left alone, sadly thinking, "When shall I see my little Babar again?" Off they went. There was no room for the mother elephants in the car, so they ran behind, lifting their trunks so as not to breathe in the dust. That very day, the king of the elephants, during his walk, had eaten a bad mushroom. It had poisoned him. He had been very ill. So ill that he had died. It was a terrible misfortune. After his funeral, the oldest elephants met together to choose a new king. Just at that moment, they heard a noise and turned around. What a wonderful sight they saw! It was Babar arriving in his car with all the elephants running and shouting. Here they are! Here they are! They have come back! Hello, Babar! Hello, Arthur! Hello, Celeste! What lovely clothes! What a beautiful car! Then Cornelius, the oldest elephant of all, said in his quavering voice, "My dear friends, we must have a new king. Why not choose Babar? He has come back from the town, where he has lived among men and learned much. Let us offer him the crown." All the elephants thought that Cornelius had spoken wisely, and they listened eagerly to hear what Babar would say. "I thank you all," said Babar, "but before accepting the crown, I must tell you that on our journey in the car, Celeste and I got engaged to be married. If I become your king, she shall be your queen." "Long live Queen Celeste! Long live King Babar!" the elephants shouted with one voice. And that was how Babar became king! "Cornelius," said Babar, "you have such good ideas that I shall make you a general. And when I get my crown, I will give you my hat. In a week's time, I am going to marry Celeste. We will give a grand party to celebrate our marriage and our coronation. And Babar asked the birds to take invitations to all the animals. The guests began to arrive. Who went to town to buy some fine wedding clothes, brought them just in time for the ceremony. The Wedding of Babar. Babar's coronation. After the wedding and the coronation, everyone danced merrily. The birds sang with the orchestra. The party was over. Night fell. And the stars came out. The hearts of King Babar and Queen Celeste were filled with happy dreams. guests had gone home, very pleased, but very tired after dancing so much. For many a long day, they will remember that wonderful ball. The end.